Hi friends, this is Mangalaprathaban talking from India. I would like to talk to you today about learner-centric classrooms and the possible learning solutions for learners who have been facing learning gap. Learning gap is one of the major issues that we talk today in our schools and colleges, as most of the learners who have come back for the courses could not really find themselves all right because their zone of learning is slightly different from their fellow learners who are sometimes better than them or who could possibly outsmart them in accomplishing the tasks given to them. And teachers, find it very difficult to help them out for one reason. The learning pace varies, at multiple levels, and you don't have any sort of strategy to make sure that the various learning phases of learners are taken into account while we conduct our training programs or when we teach them. So there should be some sort of a confluence of accelerated learning and slow learning paces that we could identify among our learners. Some schools do some sort of a learner grouping. They identify top 10% of the accelerated or the finest learners, and then they try to categorize them into various groups. So that could be peer led learning. In other words, that could be collaborative learning at all levels. But this very idea of collaborative learning works out very well if you are very conscious of supporting the learner through somebody else who could do a better job at all times, as he or she is going to sit next to the learner and clarify his or her doubts. This group learning is absolutely not possible during the pandemic. It has disappeared. Though there are WhatsApp groups which we could create, and there are Telegram groups, there could be online groups that we can possibly use to share, but that doesn't work at the school level in a big way, I believe, because most of these children are absolutely not keen on working on their own, or self access learning is quite minimal. But that could be maximized if they get to know why they do it and how to really make use of technology to collaborate with other fellow learners to overcome the difficulties they face. Some teachers have a few tools developed in this regard, such as, for example, group projects or team projects, wherein one best learner could get along with two slow learners and help them to work on micro modules, get to know more about areas which they have never explored. That's sort of a discovery of new areas of learning and a guided learning wherein there are interventions from teachers, reinforcement from fellow learners, reflection, rather reflective learning done by each of these learners in the group can possibly channelize the entire learning process in a better way. But this can happen only when there is a plan. There should be a curriculum plan or curriculum planning done at the earliest to foresee the next pandemic and see what could be done if ever the schools are not opened. What are the strategies do we need to have? Like, what strategies can we make use of to support these learners who are going to face learning gaps again? Already, majority of the learners find it very difficult to make any progress. They couldn't really come to terms with the kind of syllabus which has not been minimized. So there is a need for us to minimize uh, the learning content, or rather categorize learning content into different you know, paces of time, number one. Number two, uh, make the evaluation process easier, uh, allow them to have a take home task, help them to do some sort of collaborative learning. Maybe they could be given videos and audios where they could listen to it at any point of time over and again to overcome the kind of difficulties they face. These are some of the suggestions that I have for people who could be facing learning gap. More importantly, I would suggest every teacher to provide individualized counseling to these learners and support them in a way that they could really come out of diffidence. Majority of the learners live in fear and self-doubt, so they can't overcome their learning difficulties, right? So this has to be done. There should be some psychological support given to the learners on all occasions when they face these difficulties, right? If you want to know more about this, visit me at www.mangalaprathaban.com. You can also listen to my other YouTube videos, listen to my podcasts, which are listened by people in 28 countries. Good luck to you. Wish you all success. Bye bye. See you.